10% of all the new cars sold in Iowa come from the Carl Auto Group. Our neighbors trust us to have the largest selection and the highest standards. To our current customers, thank you. And to our future customers, see for yourself why Carl drives Iowa.
Your dealer for life, it's the Carl way.
I'm Chris Williams from Cyclone Fanatic and a proud Iowa State graduate from the class of 2007. No one shows up like Iowa State fans.
And Cyclones support Cyclones on and off the field.
Your gift can provide scholarships to students, fund groundbreaking research. We could even drum up opportunities for the marching band. Visit MoveWhatMatters.com to learn how you can make an impact today.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? Williams and Blum Wednesday here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. We're going to continue on with your mailbag questions this week as, well, we haven't really had any more news. So this is great. We like no news weeks.
Women's basketball got a transfer on Sunday.
Yeah, you know what's funny is, you're right. That's good news.
That's good.
I think of bad news.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever think of
Evangelina.
She was the SoCon Player of the Year.
Yes, and Defensive Player
at Wofford.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They call her E because Evangelina is too many syllables, I guess. But
Evangelina.
All
right. That's a good pickup.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a good,
really good offseason.
They had a really good transfer offseason.
Absolutely.
Jada Williams is like
the headliner.
Yeah, and like that's one 3 months ago where you really didn't even dream that could be a thing.
No. I mean, by the way,
good year. That's a nice transfer year.
Priority number uno and uno A, keep Audie Crooks and Addie Brown.
Yes.
They're top 15 ranked. Again, I know they were this year. I understand where it's coming at. Well, what about, but still, expectations are a good thing. And we're going to enter the next season with top 25 ranked football, men's basketball, women's basketball programs again. It's starting to become a trend.
Williams and Blum on your Wednesday. Beautiful week here in Central Iowa. I know that we have a lot of listeners and viewers who are not in Iowa. We appreciate you too. One of the cool things about Cyclone Fanatic is it keeps you all engaged. So does our Patreon members, which we are giving a salute to our Patreon members today. We're taking your questions. We'll take more. I doubt we can get through all of them. We had like 50 some of these things.
If we get through them all, we're going to both do the Tyrese Haliburton.
Ooh-wee.
Big.
Overrated my ass.
There we go, Aiden. It's one of my favorite.
Well, Donovan Jackson
move. Yeah, he pulled it from Donovan Jackson.
I would love that photograph. You want to get me a boss's gift some year, Aiden?
Donovan Jackson at the
Fog Allen holding his balls.
And one of the other ones is if you watch that, I'm going to put it up on my old. It's going to be random, but those are the followers of the podcast will understand. I'm going to put it on my Twitter today. There was two Jayhawk mascots in the background when he made that shot, and they're both like contemplating their life's meaning in that moment. It's a beautiful photo. It really is. Congratulations, Tyrese and John Haliburton. Way to go, guys. I hope John had a great night last night. Hope he did.
I'm sure he did. John that sucks that he can't be on the road.
I know.
Doing all that stuff. That kills me for that family, but whatever.
Way to go, Tyrese.
I'm sure John's doing just fine. Let's get to these questions. Do want to thank a new sponsor to Williams and Blum. Just signed them up this morning. They are not new to Cyclone Fanatic. Central States Roofing, the boys.
Nice.
Coming on. I actually, my buddy Ryan, who works at Central States Roofing, his brother-in-law is Tony Watson.
Oh, the old the old lefty.
And
DCG.
I was like, well, Bloom's brother.
Yeah, my brother's a superintendent of Dowson.
Yeah. Because I remember your brother Scott lined Tony up to come on to my radio show.
Yep.
A couple times because he won some award or. So yeah, Central States Roofing coming on board. Williams and Blum. Appreciate they've been a great sponsor of ours. They do a lot of our like special coverage sponsorships and stuff like that. But wanted to give them a shout out. Is they're really good people, a great locally owned company, and so they do commercial buildings. Okay, so you're talking like roof leaks and stuff like that. If these giant commercial buildings, but they also do anything commercial is what you think of it with these guys. Repairs, and they just want to help extend your current roof system's life. So remember them. If you're out there and you're in commercial real estate or you're a business owner, support the people who support us. Central States Roofing.
And if you want to get your company involved, I'm sure you can reach out to Chris or myself.
Absolutely.
Anytime.
We need more.
We need support. Honestly, local media.
We really do. I'm serious. We really need more sponsorship right now because the economy, as far as like, I'm just being brutally honest with you guys, like the ads and stuff that you hear on Spotify and all that, like, are paying nothing right now because the tariffs. But no, it's just there's not as many people advertising. So if you've ever wanted to get on Cyclone Fanatic, we would really appreciate it. Anything at this point. So thank you for all of our great sponsors like Mechdyne, who is our presenting sponsor. They've been with us from day one here on Williams and Blum. Okay. I like the spontaneity of doing this way. I don't like to read them ahead of time because I think it creates better conversation.
Yeah, I haven't seen a dang
We haven't seen any of these, so I'm just picking them out. Trenton Sorensen, he's in Waukee.
It's a great name.
He says, I think I remember Brent saying he was a Cyclone fan because his whole family was Hawkeye fans. Did you say that?
Somewhat true. So, they're not all of my family, but a portion of them, and that wasn't why I became an Iowa.
Yeah, because your mom's side were all Iowa because your grandpa was a professor.
Yeah, both my grandparents were professors at Iowa. I was born in the U of I hospitals. I spent literally the first 9 months of my life in Iowa City.
I was also born in Iowa City. Spent the first 6 months in Coralville.
See? I have more in common with the University of Iowa than most Hawkeye fans.
Trenton wants to know, how can I prevent the opposite from happening? Because my kid is getting a lot of bad Hawk influence from his daycare friends right now. This is great. I love this question. Well, I would say my number one thing would be make sure you're taking your kid to games.
Yes, that's 1 and 1A.
And like if like We Will's doing like a get together and like where you can get autograph, you got to get them so they feel like they're a part of it and it's not just this thing that dad wants. So I'm taking Elise to her first NASCAR weekend, and she is
that's hilarious and awesome at the same time.
She's gonna be immersed in it. We have garage passes. Like she's got her own like headset so she can listen to our guy on the scanner. Like you got to. I don't know how little your guy is, Trenton, but that would be my thing. Like not only just take him to games, but like any of these opportunities the athletic department gives you to get a
tailgate
picture,
tour, right? All those things. Why? Part of the reason why I became an Iowa State fan was honestly it was hard to get to an Iowa football game back in the day, but it was like a piece of cake. You just roll into Ames and literally, I tell the story. I would roll into Ames, C-Dub, and my brothers and I would play like flag football, tackle football sometimes in the parking lot, and there was nobody around, and we were in D4, like an hour and a half before the game. Well, I still think, it's obviously grown tremendously, and you can't do that anymore. However, I still think it's important for Iowa State to provide, and they do, those accessible options like the hillsides and everything else for families, because the only way to grow your fan base is to start them young. And being accessible and easy to get tickets was a huge benefit for Iowa State and why we've seen the growth of the fan base. Now, we can't ignore the revenue side either. We've talked about that for eons. But I do think there's something to be said of being accessible for all of the fans in numerous ways.
Yeah. And again, like making them feel as much a part of it is so it's not just dad's hobby. And it's like,
for sure. Go to the camps, go to the...
And hopefully your kid isn't like a little punk that just wants to be a contrarian.
And that
could happen.
That happens. That happens.
I did that with my dad with, I've told this story many times, but the Herschel Walker trade. Because my dad was a Cowboys fan, and I was a Cowboys fan because dad was a Cowboys fan, and Herschel Walker got traded, and I loved Herschel Walker more than I loved that star. The biggest mistake of my life.
The funny part is, the other thing is, Iowa State needs to keep winning, too. That helps.
Well, it helps because Iowa State's cool now, and it wasn't when we were kids.
100% true. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a struggle there in the 90s, team. But we made it through the other side. And I don't want to go back to the 90s. That's literally, see why I'm like,
yeah, no, we don't.
We're not going back to the 90s.
No more 90s. Matthew is in Garner. When is Iowa State going to stop going on the road to these group of 5 schools? I understand it's about the money, but Iowa State should be in a position now where they could buy out these road games and have more home games like the Power 5 schools do. Well, Brent may have a better answer here, but this isn't my opinion. I believe I'm speaking accurately here. You would know more than me, but just looking at it from a purely economic standpoint, by playing that game, what are you saving? $1.5 to $2 million?
Yes.
That you could put towards NIL and coaching salaries.
All the above.
When you write, Matt, it's about the money. It is about the money. And Iowa State should be in the position now. Well, maybe, but compared to who? Would be my, what kind of position? Because what I understand and what Jamie Pollard has said publicly, it's not us speaking for him. I don't know if they are in that position. They view it, it sucks for the football program, but the football program, by playing that game, is saving a couple $1 million. And it's also not as easy as ticket sales if it's a home game and concessions. It doesn't, because there's expenses that come with that.
Correct. It's expensive to put on a game. Yeah, so it's not completely made up. I would say the best way for Iowa State to get another home game was to get significant more investment from the area to allow Iowa State to benefit those businesses to have that. Iowa State basically needs to trade off. I don't want to do $3.5 million in additional investment from something.
Hotel tax.
Something. Doesn't matter. Even businesses and Ames have to get more involved with Iowa State athletics, just if they want more of that action. But right now, Iowa State's taking the conservative route of just saving that $2 million. It's probably up to $2.5 million now, by the way.
These buy games are more expensive than ever.
Because the price keeps going up. It's just like the NIL market. You just keep going. So
that's why they do it. And you can argue what you're arguing. But I would reject that they should be in the position now. I don't know if they are.
3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, maybe not
it's
now.
Just a different world.
You just got a $21 million line item on your budget overnight,
and you had to eat $7 million from the Big 12 thing,
and another $8 million from.
So you're looking at almost a $30 million or $35 million deficit that you weren't counting on 5 years ago.
Correct. So it's not
that per year.
Per year. And it's only going up. By the way, the 21 million thing, the cap, which hopefully we get clarity on that maybe as soon as tonight, actually. This is the deadline for that.
I have no faith in this.
I don't either, but we'll keep you posted. That's going to go up every year.
Yes.
It's not that it's based on a percentage of the average revenue brought in by all the schools. It's an escalator. So it could go up, and it will go up, potentially a couple million per year. So the point is, Iowa State has to be creative in how it does some of these things. In a perfect world, you'd have 7 home games just like the big dogs. But Iowa State, again, I remind our fans, Iowa State's making $35 million less, $40 million less than the Big Ten, the SEC schools, right there. So they're not the same. So it's on us to either make up that difference or find other ways to be creative to stay competitive.
And again, I want to clarify, like, there's nobody who hates playing those games as much as me. Like, I hate it too, but...
and Matt, I think if you talk to Campbell, they obviously would want another home game. They love home games.
Yeah.
It's better for everybody. But
they don't want to go to Arkansas State this year.
You got to be fiscally responsible here.
And frankly, with what Pollard talked about on that Elijah Moore, with the reserves or whatever, like, that's because they've done some of this stuff in the past that they have that money.
Iowa State basically has some reserves left for a rainy day. The plan was not to use that rainy day fund on, making up the difference over a 2-year period, though. And I think this is where, Iowa State's got a revenue issue, and if you want things like the other power programs have, you have to invest accordingly. And I'm not just saying the fans, I'm saying the state, the city, businesses, all the above.
Kevin says, historically, the football team has struggled in the first game of the year against non-conference opponents. Campbell's recent teams have improved in turnover margin, special team stats, scoring, and reducing penalties. He has also solved the challenge of performance, or has he also solved the challenge of performance early in the season? How concerned are you about this team being ready for Kansas State in August? So how I would break that down, I wonder if they've struggled, or I wonder if Matt has kind of treated that first game always like a preseason game.
Well, I mean, Iowa State's won their last 4 openers. Like, at some point,
they beat Iowa 2 of 4, right?
Yeah.
Like, they split?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, yes,
it's gotten better.
And then the 2020 year was Louisiana and the COVID this is different, though. This is not a typical first game. I mean, you're putting all of your eggs in that basket because this is arguably the biggest game of the year for Iowa State is the first one. In fact, I
completely agree with you,
because K-State and Iowa State will be 2 of the top 4 programs picked in the Big 12 poll. K-State will most likely be ranked top 15. Iowa State's going to be top 20. You will have a ranked matchup in Dublin. It's a monster game because you start the season on the right note. And by the way, it's a conference game. And when you have 16 teams in the conference, we saw what the tiebreaker situation got down to last November. That is a huge, huge game. So this isn't a situation where, you're playing North Dakota and, we want to try a couple of things here. This is, you go A+. This is not your typical first game. And sure, you can look at some of the special teams things and some of the play calling, but you're treating this game like it's the 5th game of the season. I mean, there's no holding back because it's the first game. So I think this is atypical from a quote-unquote Campbell start this year.
Yeah, I don't know if it's... I always feel like in that first game, they're not doing much. That they're playing as many guys as possible. It always feels very strategic to me. Like, I remember last year was kind of like that was it.
Well, the second half, they just rotated people in left and right. But they could.
Which I love being the geek because I can see all these guys. But I don't think most common fans, like who don't follow the depth chart like many of our listeners do, can really gather that. It just kind of seems boring. And what I'm saying is, Kevin, I wonder if this year is just going to be different. Now, it
will be different. You are going all in on that first.
But I do hate the aspect that Rocco and those receivers aren't going to have a little bit of time.
Fair.
Leading into that. That sucks.
The good news is Iowa State's got a lot of experience back.
The tight ends are going to get hit.
There'll be a lot of
play
tight
the
end
over
action.
on tight end receptions
catches
in that first
Gabe
game.
Burkle over catches. But you're right. But I do think the advantage Iowa State has is offensive line's got a lot of continuity. Defensive line, some new bodies, but you got Dom back. All those linebackers.
They have a new coordinator, right?
Yes, they
Kansas
do.
State.
Kansas State does. So they have questions too. And I think having Rocco back, and obviously K-State has Avery Johnson back, but everybody has issues that first game. They don't have a preseason exhibition game. So you're going to run into some of that stuff, but I think it impacts both teams similarly here.
Yeah, this is hard. Like I've outlined it. The start of the season is hard this year.
I just don't know. I don't think you can judge the K-State start based on the UNI game from 2016.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't.
Or the UNI games from 19 and
I do
21.
think the September thing is a little bit tired now. I think that they've moved on from that. Not completely, but
I agree.
yeah.
Just look at the last 5 years. I mean, you could, yes, the first 4 of the Campbell era slow starts got way better October, November. Just look at the numbers the last 4 years.
Yeah, those openers, I just feel like they're not trying to cover the spread. They're trying to. And then the Iowa games from like the Purdy era get extra weight on them.
They do.
Like
Because there
that
was
21
so much-
game,
yeah.
you know, like
And 19.
Yeah.
I mean, there was
there's extra weight on
because those were the
which I
game day
understand.
games. Yeah. And then honestly, why Iowa State has slow starts relative to some other schools is Iowa State has to play that game every single year. And that's a Power 4 matchup, which most schools don't have in game number 2, game number 3.
Go to movewhatmatters.com, make a donation to an area of campus that you care about with the Iowa State University Foundation. Got all about nice note from this Iowa State Theater.
There you go.
ISU Theater. That was one of my Forever True Day gifts this year.
I actually, speaking of that, first time I ran into Chris Williams was you were an actor. You were an actor in a play
I was a thespian.
about the Chicago Cubs. I want to say was it Bleacher
Bumps.
You and Sipker were in the same play.
No, I beat Sipker out.
Well, he was in it, wasn't he?
No, he didn't get the role. He auditioned for the same
okay.
role as me, and I beat him.
But I remember being like, I hate this guy.
Sipker like wanted to be a professional actor. Like I was just doing it as a hobby, and I just walked in and just took his role.
You were there to meet the theater,
And then
theater girl, probably.
I haven't done a play since.
I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
Weren't you the gambler?
Yeah, I was Marvin. I was the Cardinals fan. I was the heel.
I had to go for class.
Yes.
I wasn't there to like.
I wish I would have made some different choices with that role. If only I could do it again. I think about that all the time.
Wonder what the DCI would have done with that play.
Brett is in Omaha. How long before the book comes out? It's supposed to come out in November. Is the God willing.
Let's go.
God willing, it'll be out in November. He goes, I need to hear more stories on Steel Jance. Well, that's an open-ended deal.
International Man of Mystery. Like it's weird because everyone's like, I want to know more about Steel, but nobody knows anything about Steel.
I don't have much more to give you on Steel. I think it's better off if Steel's just Steel, you know? I don't know if I want to know more.
I don't think I do. It's just kind of like
It's like the Cyclone Larry thing to me. I don't want to know.
I don't want any more. I don't want any more.
It'll ruin it for
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
Because once I know who it is, it's like that person cannot live up to the alias.
Never get to know your heroes. They say that for a reason.
Favorite clone from both of you, past and present? Well, it's Jared Homan. That's the answer. Jared Homan is the greatest Cyclone of all time in any sport, in any era.
I got to go to Yang. I know it's a homer pick, but
Yang's pretty damn good, man. He's top 3 for me for sure. It would be Homan, Adam Carper, and George Niang.
All right, I'm going to tell the story because we're past the point of demarcation here. Iowa State loses to Pittsburgh. Remember that game?
In
the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
Didn't go well.
When we scored like 30 points.
30 points. I think I actually got to 40. Aiden, can you check? Did we get to the 40-point marker?
I don't think they did.
Well, but remember the basket support was off. Remember that? Like that was kind of a weird deal.
Yeah, that game was rigged.
I think it might have been. Like let's go back in the Wayback Machine.
41.
So got to
Robert Jones was like 2 of 14 from the free throw line.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle that day. So George
Kalsher was throwing up bricks.
actually they cut that lead to like 3 in the first half. I thought, okay, here comes Iowa State.
They're only down 7 at the break.
7.
And they had shot like 20% from the field.
14 for 60 from the floor, 2 for 21 from 3 that day.
And it was in Greensboro, like a terrible town.
So first of all, Iowa State's offense is not getting back to that point, which is great. Because, I tell this story. So Iowa State loses, and the portal's open.
Of course it is.
So I don't get a lot of messaging from George, but George's like, Blum, we need to talk. It's like, okay. So start talking to George. He's like, all right, I'm getting Tyrese on the phone. I was like, okay, let's get Tyrese on the phone. And George basically says, Blum, in different language than this, how do we get guys to put the ball in the basket?
Every other word's an F-bomb.
He goes, Blum, how do we guys to put the ball in the basket? I said, well, guys, the portal is open. You can help the cause. Literally, without giving all the details, over the next month, Iowa State signed Keyshawn Gilbert and Curtis Jones. Thank you, Tyrese. Thank you, George. Legends. Favorite current one? Oh, man. There's a lot of
current. Well, Emily Ryan's gone.
Yeah.
She's my favorite.
Ariana Jackson and Rocco Beck for me.
Hmm.
I'm a big AJ fan. Just a lovely person.
It's Miles Mendezun and Kale Brazina for me.
There you go.
It's my tag team partners. Those are my guys.
Brett Eskelson. Did you get the name right?
Yeah.
Walter sent us a long email about this.
Walter's was very like fatherly. Like, all right, guys,
yes, let's get this. Let's get the names right.
You can click on this link. You can click on the little ear. No, we appreciated it.
It was very nice.
They do have a nice thing at cyclones.com for the pronunciation.
Yes.
They've done a good job with that.
It's easy to go down there. Check it out.
And then, okay, so there you go. There's our favorite clones. I don't know how you put anybody above Jared Homan, though, but whatever. That's
Leah Nelson.
Leah Nelson.
Oh, Leah
yeah,
Nelson.
good choice.
All-time
Leah.
Cyclone.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Was there anything as cool as the JJ Moses chant before every punt return?
What did
I don't know. That was before my time.
Man, I know JJ was great at. What did he do? We need some clarity on that. Should I call Ben Bruns and Sage? Say what's the deal? More info, and we'll respond to that.
Well, we're going to have some people coming at us because we didn't know that.
Well, I didn't know there was a chant. I know JJ was an electric punt returner. He was Dante Hall before Dante Hall was cool. Remember Dante? Was it Dante Hall for the Chiefs back in the day? The human joystick, that was JJ Moses. Interestingly, fun fact for you young timers, JJ Moses got hurt in the Insight.com Bowl. Got concussed, was not able to return punts. Jermaine Billups' first ever punt return was the game-clinching touchdown for Iowa State in that game. So JJ continued to make an impact.
Shy Clone. He's from Chicago.
Makes sense.
Actually, originally from Marshalltown, he says, home of Mechdine.
That's true.
He's a marching band alum.
Love the band.
Varsity Marching Band. John Larkin. First ever producer of Williams and Blum. On KASI Radio, God rest its soul. iHeartMedia axed that thing.
It's still around.
It's still technically there, but they don't have like local content.
Programming
it's just,
anymore?
it's just. I don't think so. I guess I shouldn't, but I know the building is not up and like.
Should have kept us around.
Well, we did we were on from 10 to noon on Sundays.
That's right.
When we were in college.
That's right.
On shout out to Mel Crippen and John Larkin, the voice of the Varsity Marching Band, was our producer.
That's right.
To live up to that, Aiden. The amount of people who listened to that show was crazy too. Like we would get, because that was right when McCarney was kind of on the hot seat.
Oh, that was a tough year.
And I was very much a boisterous. Imagine that. Like I'm like, we got to make a change here. Like people aren't even going to games anymore. And Bloom's like a McCarney loyalist because you remember the day. Yeah, and I would have handled it probably differently if I had a little more perspective at the time. Although I'm glad to say I was on the winning side of that. Like, not that anyone won. Nobody wanted to see Mac.
Do you think Chizik did well?
No, but I think that they had to do something.
Yeah,
I do. Like looking back at it, especially writing this book.
It's an interesting hypothetical. Like if McCarney comes back for another year.
I guess my point is this: like knowing everything we knew.
Yeah.
And like the direction. Did you think Mac had more juice in that squeeze coming up?
It was hard at that point.
Because the problem was their recruiting classes were just getting, like, they were getting in trouble. They were not panning out. You're going more JUCO heavy. It felt very...
And the staff was getting... A lot of the high-achieving staff members had moved on at that point. And so you had some guys that probably... I won't name names, but the staff was not as strong as McCartney's early couple of years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like, in my opinion,
I understand it now.
In my opinion, that whole thing started to the downfall began the Missouri game of 2004.
It was
when nobody showed up. And then 2005, they had every opportunity to do something special and take the program to new heights. Schedule played out, everything. And they just lost every close game.
Yeah. The other thing that played in here, it was Jamie Pollard's. He was only a year into the job.
So
at this
he had
point.
to make a move.
He was trying to.
Yeah.
And this was not that Jamie's, ever not brash, but he was extra ballsy.
Yeah, he's
early.
in his like 30s.
Yeah, he was like,
or 40s.
we're putting
or
up
whatever.
billboards. We're toying with the Hawkeye fans. But yeah, you needed to get Iowa State to that next step, and arguably it worked because look at the ticket sales that emerged from that era.
When you say to me, do you think Chiswick did a good job? Well, 5-19 would lead you to believe no, but it's a bigger conversation than that.
Fair.
Look at the season ticket sales the next year.
As a Mac guy, it would have been fun to see him get one more.
I agree. But I also think Jamie knew that he had a really good opportunity to strike.
Totally.
When you look at the guys he interviewed for that job.
Oh my gosh. The crazy thing is who they hired when the others.
Yeah. Well,
which will be in the book, right?
Yeah. I just wrote the chapter last week. It's done. It's in the hands of Rob Gray.
Jim Harbaugh could have been in Ames.
There's a name. I'm not letting it out before the book comes out, but it'll blow your guys' mind. The 5 guys who they had will blow your mind. Like 4 of them are very common. Like everybody knows about it. The 5th is like, whoa.
Man, you're just pushing book sales now.
Well, I'm not even meaning to, but all this stuff keeps coming up. All right. Anyways, back to this question. How many years of watching football games have you guys had? What is your most memorable halftime show? It's got to be that one where they're all in the dinosaur.
Yeah, the dinosaurs.
Because it went like viral.
Yeah. I mean, the drone show last year was cool.
That was overrated.
I didn't think so.
They completely, the athletic department didn't do this. We all did it. We're like, oh, a drone show.
Well, because they canceled the drone show.
And then it got canceled because of the wind.
It came back then the next.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine.
That was memorable. I remember it. I love the band. I don't remember a lot of them. The Seneca Wallace run one. That was really good.
Yeah.
But the dinosaurs are the winner.
The Jurassic Park.
That was great. And then the
huge band guys here.
Well, and then they had the giant.
Love the band.
Hold on. Help correct me. Then they had the little dinosaurs. I believe that was 2018. Okay. They had the giant dinosaur. Was that last year? They had the big giant T-Rex that came out. They tried to run it back a little bit. I think that was last year. So we've had multiple dinosaur.
They're bringing it back.
Excursions at Jack Trice. In fact, let's have a dinosaur thing every year, band. Like, play the hits. The same reason I pick on Iowa, Nebraska fans. They keep falling for it. Like, just keep doing it.
My favorite band halftime show ever was the Rose Bowl in 2022, 19, 18, whatever year that was. 15. Jesus. 2015 Rose Bowl.
Yeah. Big Stanford band guys.
You don't have to be lonely. Farmers only.
Remember a state legislature they wrote a law saying we're banning the Stanford band.
This is why I don't trust anything can get done in our legislature. It's too tribal. One of these idiots will be like, oh, if we do this tax, it'll help Iowa State. Go Hawks. I guarantee you. This is why all these Iowa State people over the years, because I come at this like, I wasn't an Iowa State guy when I got here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why do they all have little man syndrome? Well, this is why. Because you've had people in power trying to keep you down for the last 100 years. And that is a reality. I won't say who. There's a certain Iowa State head coach who told me about a month into the job, holy shit, I didn't realize, like, when it comes to like regents and stuff like that, how stacked it is in Iowa's favor.
It's
maybe not regents. I don't know if that's the perfect way to put it.
But the same, like the first conversation we had, all of the decision makers, now it's changing. This is what's great. This is why it's like Iowa State needs to take advantage of this era right now and keep it going, because if you can get through this little weird period, you've already made so much progress in the state. But the old guard, the traditional guard, your some of the hawk guard, I'll say, wants to keep Iowa State down here. And I'm afraid like this is why this is the
Speaking of dinosaurs.
Yeah. But anyway, the bill, 100% of this happened. I'm reading, I won't name his name.
He named names.
He introduced a bill on Wednesday that would ban any partnership between Stanford and Iowa State, or Northern Iowa until apology is issued for that performance. I don't know if it got passed.
And they're calling the younger generation soft. Kelderman Manufacturing supports the program. Kelderman ain't soft. Kelderman.com. Go to his YouTube page. Get all these celebrities' trucks that he's always, as Hassel would say, he's douching up these trucks. I think they look sweet. I'm a truck guy.
I'm in the market for a new vehicle potentially. Do you think I could pull off a truck, or should I just stick to my
you should not drive a
crossovers?
truck.
Just stick over my crossovers.
That would be it. I mean, your wife could drive a truck.
Yeah, she could.
You're not. Gravitate Co-working. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com. As always, longtime sponsor of the show. You can get your will done in the day with Hope Wood. HopeWoodJD.com. Lots of people doing that because we're all getting older. Mm-hmm. Like if you're like Blum, you're just swimming in assets.
Yeah.
What if you die? You're screwed.
Thankfully,
have a will?
Well, do I have one? I need to get one. I mean, again, it's finally the portal's closed. Now it's time for me to get one.
Get your will done.
Get my will done.
Cody, anyone going to get their numbers retired for football? Brock, Montgomery, what is the protocol for Iowa State football to have that happen? It's interesting. You think of that with basketball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it never really it's a great question.
Now,
they
won't retire numbers in football, right?
No.
Yeah, there's a difference between having your jersey
I take that
and
back.
Your number.
There is one retired jersey.
Trice?
No. Interestingly.
It's not Troy.
Nope. This is one of those
it wasn't Seneca.
Nope. It's Mike Cox.
Excuse me?
Yeah. In the 1960s.
You're what?
Mike Cox. I'm not exactly.
Why does Mike Cox have his jersey retired?
I'm not exactly sure, but he does.
Interesting.
And he got it because of Clay Stapleton in the 60s. I need to do some investigation what that situation is.
Yeah, maybe he had like a tragedy or something.
I don't know. But the way it is now, you have to be inducted into the Hall of Fame first.
The Iowa State University Athletics Hall of Fame.
And to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, you have to wait 10 years till you're done playing to be inducted in the Hall of Fame.
So we're going to get to a point here soon where like Edgem, Niang,
we're like right now.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Like did Edgem
may already be in there.
Did he get in there last year?
Yes.
Because KO did. Yeah. Because KO did.
You're right. Okay. So we're going to get into
We're starting to get in the golden era now.
Yeah, when Iowa State was good, not that they weren't good at other times, but like in this more modern era of success, a lot of these people will start getting in.
So I would
like Metters. She got in.
Yeah, she got
recently.
in. Yep. So Brock, let's say Brock's last year at Iowa State was 2021. He will get inducted in the Iowa State Hall of Fame again, assuming the same protocols exist in 2031. I do think Brock would be one who you would at least put in, but there is no Ring of Honor really at Iowa State. Like it doesn't exist.
But you haven't ever had good enough players.
Why?
Well, you've had individual success, but
Yes.
it's not like this. So maybe that's something they need to look into.
But
you know what I mean?
Potentially. The issue is like you had Troy and Darren Davis wear number 28 and became a huge deal when Breece Hall wore number 28. Remember, Troy and Darren got a little upset about
They
that.
were pissed.
Now what do you do? All of them wore number 28.
Well, you can't retire numbers
Correct.
in football. There's too many guys on the
I
team.
agree
You
with
can't
that.
just eliminate numbers.
But can you put Brock Purdy and Breece Hall in there if Troy Davis isn't in there? Like this is when you haven't done it for literally 70 years.
But
where do you start?
That's my point. They just haven't had the tradition.
Haven't done it. And then if you do it, you're going to have to grandfather. You're going to have to. It's like the Hall of Fame when it first started. They put like 20 people in all at once.
So what you don't want to do, so like my favorite sport, NASCAR, they put in like 5 guys every year. It's just too much. Like there's not enough people. So now you've got, it's so watered down. It's like anybody who won a race can get into the freaking Hall of Fame. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like Iowa State. I mind the 10-year period. I really don't. But Iowa State just has never really done football. Like K-State, I would be okay with a Ring of Honor of some kind because they have it at K-State. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember when Darren Sproles was at K-State, but Iowa State just hasn't done it. It's a good question.
That is a good question that I'm guessing a lot of people had never really thought about.
Because you
think about it with basketball.
You got to put Matt Blair in there. Like you got
yeah. There's a lot of guys from the 70s that would deserve to be in there.
Absolutely. Dexter Green. Like where does it where does it George Amundsen, where does it stop? And it's almost like you've gotten too far down the road. Now if you're going to grandfather all those people in, you're going to have to it's difficult and you're going to make somebody upset.
Hold on, I'm loading more comments on the Cyclone Fanatic Patreon page. You guys should go subscribe. We actually just did a deal where you can get your membership now for an entire year, so you don't have to do the month-to-month thing. Which is for the first time ever, we've had the tool to be able to offer that people, which a lot of people have always asked for. But listen, I don't want to keep your credit cards. You don't want me keeping your credit cards. Like, it's better if we go through these third-party services. It's better for you. So that's why we do a lot of what we do.
FYI on Mike Cox.
Yes.
He was in the 2011 ISU Hall of Fame class. Same class as Ben Bruns. So elite class.
Elite class.
And it says in the article that his number was retired. So it was obviously way before he was elected to the Hall of Fame. So it must have been like as soon as he graduated, because in his bio,
he didn't die or anything like that. Like,
not that I think he died like 7 years ago.
Okay.
So,
but it wasn't like he was in a car accident during college or
Niall Kinnick died at war. Not that I could find. I'll do some more research. But
I think you're right.
He was named first team all conference in 1964. He was awarded the Reuben J. Cox Award. That seems a little nepotism, maybe. In 1964, recognizing conduct on and off the field. He was also given the Ralph Ullman Award in 1963, which is earned by the junior that displays leadership and academic excellence.
Point is, this guy must have been like an elite leader, human. And Clay Stapleton, the coach, is like...
He was drafted by the Chiefs.
You're getting your jersey retired.
This guy is just Conrad Hawley.
But like with talent. I didn't mean it like that. He was not... Sorry, Conrad. Please don't share with Conrad. Didn't mean it like that, Conrad. You know I love you. You know I love you.
Yeah, he got drafted where Conrad was the CEO. That's the difference. That's what you meant by it.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike Cox, only one.
Adam is in Carver, Minnesota. There we go. This is going to take the rest of the show.
Yeah, I got 5 minutes.
Do you think conference expansion is dead until 2031? Or that's when all the contracts are renegotiated? Or should we expect some sort of turmoil in the next couple of years? Dead is a strong word.
I say expansion is dead.
They're not doing anything until these teams.
They're not adding.
Yeah, I would agree. If they were going to add, then Clemson and Florida State would have already made the jump.
Now,
in North Carolina,
there could be some rearranging. Now, I think that'll start picking up 28, 29, 30.
Correct.
So we got a little bit of time.
2-3 years here of quiet.
The first priority for all of these schools is figuring out what the heck revenue sharing looks like. And you're not going to do anything drastic realignment wise until that is solved. And so that, I guess, is one positive from this current uncertainty is you're not having movement yet because nobody knows how much they need in order to be competitive. So you got a couple years in this, but it's not done. I don't trust the Big Ten, the SEC to keep things as they are. The one thing to watch on that front is how aggressive they get in the renegotiation for the college football playoff. They want automatic bids. potentially 4 each. Will they acquiesce at all and allow the ACC and the Big 12 and the Group of 5 to have more spots? I don't know. Because the latest rumor I heard, C-Dub, and this is probably last fall, I haven't heard much recently, was the Big 10 and the SEC each wanted to have on Championship Saturday, so instead of just playing the SEC Championship or the Big 10 Championship, they would have 4 games each, put them on TV, and the winner of that game makes the playoff. They wanted to have their own entry into the playoff with their own playoff. That would automatically get them 4 teams, which would be...
And then keep the television revenue for themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, that's more revenue.
Correct.
But it all, like... So you're just automatically granting 4 teams in when the Big 12 could probably only get 1? I mean, that's...
Well, the other thing about that's stupid is that you're going to have like these 7th and 8th place teams in these conference getting a chance to get into the playoff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because if they upset that team in the play-in game or whatever
whatever they call it. And then they're going to be mad at themselves because like, well, how do you leave off after the second match? It's I could see a world, though, where they get their automatic 4 in. This is what they're going to try and get. I swear, they're going to try and get their 4 in automatically each, and then they're going to want 1 or 2 at-larges as well. And they're going to try and push this playoff to 16 or 18 teams. Just wait.
No, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. All right, good stuff. Appreciate you. Blum's got to go. Aiden producing the show, as always, on a Wednesday. Don't know if I'm going to be in Kansas. We might not have the show on Sunday. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know.
Hey, man, enjoy the race.
I will. I'm really looking forward to it. We will, God willing, not a bunch of big news between now and then.
Just Tyrese, more
balls.
More big ball moments.
Brent Blum, Aiden Wyatt. I'm Chris Williams. We'll talk to you guys here in a few days here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.